history, with LeBron James directly or indirectly influencing team moves and using media, podcasts, and other forms of media to do it. That's a fact.
The NBA just watched one of the most uncomfortable damage control moments of the entire season. And yeah, it involved the so-called king. Rich Paul, LeBron James's longtime agent and inner circle ally, went on his podcast and casually dropped a grenade into Lakers Nation. He floated the idea of trading Austin Reaves, the purple and gold fan favorite, for Jaren Jackson Jr., the Memphis Grizzlies' defensive centerpiece. And just like that, everything exploded.
If I was the Lakers, I would probably be targeting the Memphis Grizzlies as a trade partner for Jaren Jackson.
Yeah, that'd be a great fit.
I would.
For whom?
Well, that's the thing, because you got to figure out the package. This comes with
Austin Reaves.
This comes with a very unemotional attachment because Austin is beloved, which he should be.
But he's about to get paid.
Reaves is averaging around 26 points per game, carrying momentum, confidence, and crowd energy. And suddenly he's being talked about like a disposable asset. The reaction was instant chaos. Social media went wild. Fans were furious. And then came the scramble. LeBron wasted no time trying to create distance. After the Lakers' latest win, he told ESPN reporters he had nothing to do with Rich Paul's comments. Full denial mode, hands up, backpedaling hard. But here's the thing, nobody's buying it, and Stephen A. Smith absolutely cooked both of them on national TV. Because this situation, it's way messier than they want you to believe. Now let's slow it down. Rich Paul didn't misspeak, he didn't slip up, he said the quiet part out loud.
Rich Paul has gotten delusional. As LeBron James's career is coming to an end and LeBron James has clearly lost power and leverage in the NBA and with the Lakers, Rich Paul actually thinks his agency and his brand and his relationship with Adele and all that, Rich Paul is feeling himself.
Trade Austin Reaves for Jaren Jackson Jr. to balance the roster. On paper, sure. A former Defensive Player of the Year fixing the Lakers' rim protection sounds nice. But reality check, you don't publicly suggest trading your client's teammate, especially a fan favorite, unless something deeper is brewing. You don't float that idea unless you're testing reactions, sending signals, or applying pressure behind closed doors. And that's why this blew up. LeBron tried to clean it up fast. Too fast. The denial sounded rehearsed, defensive, and honestly, shaky.
3. With LeBron James directly or indirectly influencing team moves and using media, podcasts, and other forms of media to do it.
Because when your agent talks like that, people assume the message came from somewhere. And that's where the real problem starts. LeBron doubled down hard. He insisted he never talks podcast topics with Rich Paul, claimed Austin Reaves knows exactly how he feels, and said anyone connecting those comments to him is just being unreasonable. Sounds convincing, right? Wrong. Stephen A. Smith wasn't buying a single word. Not for 1 second. On ESPN, he went full scorched earth and said what everyone's thinking but too scared to say out loud. Rich Paul and LeBron James are attached at the hip, 2 decades deep, business partners, inner circle, family level close. You don't just separate their voices like they're 2 random guys who grab lunch once a year. That's fantasy. Stephen A. broke it down clean. Rich Paul isn't some rookie agent learning the ropes. This man has moved pieces across the league, influenced front offices, shaped rosters, and built a powerhouse agency, all tied to LeBron's gravity.
Lakers, I would probably be targeting the Memphis Grizzlies as a trade partner for Jaren Jackson.
I know Rich Paul well enough to know that Rich Paul speaks for himself. But I also know how attached he is to LeBron and how he will speak for LeBron all day, every day. Won't say, he'll tell LeBron if he's wrong now. He'll tell LeBron if he's wrong. He'll speak privately, but he's always gonna ride with LeBron.
So let's stop playing dumb. You really think he doesn't understand what happens when he talks Lakers personnel on a public platform? Come on! Stephen A.'s reality check was brutal and necessary. When you're LeBron's agent, his childhood friend, and the guy who's been there for every title run and every team shift, your words don't exist in a vacuum. Fair or not, that's the job. And here's the real kicker. There's history, documented history. LeBron has used media, podcasts, and public pressure to influence teams before. That's not speculation, it's a pattern. The Anthony Davis move didn't come out of nowhere. Neither did the Kevin Love situation in Cleveland. Wherever LeBron goes, rosters don't just evolve, they get reshaped. And that's why this denial isn't landing. These aren't coincidences, not even close. So when Rich Paul casually suggests trading Austin Reaves on his podcast, the entire NBA instantly connects it back to LeBron James, because of course they do. This is the same duo that's basically run like a two-man front office for over 15 years. You don't just erase that history overnight. And the timing, that's what makes it scream strategy. LeBron picked up his $52 million player option this season. Most people expected this to possibly be his final year in Los Angeles. The Lakers are good, but let's be real, they're not great. They're not beating the Denver Nuggets in a playoff series. They probably don't get past the Oklahoma City Thunder either. And as currently built, they're not real title threats. Yes, Reaves is having a career year.
Knows that LeBron James has been the primary recruiter for Clutch Sports, that he helped build Clutch Sports. I mean, are we really to believe that Rich Paul, a guy who at the time was like 32 years old, just started one of the biggest sports agencies in the NBA on his own?
But that also means one thing. A big payday is coming. The Lakers are staring at a fork in the road. Pay heavy for the backcourt or reshuffle the roster to balance things around an aging LeBron. That's why Rich Paul floating a Reaves for Jaren Jackson Jr. idea isn't random chatter. It's calculated messaging. Loud enough to hear, vague enough to deny, and LeBron knows it. That's exactly why he's sprinting to create distance. But then things got nuclear. Jason Whitlock went all the way in. He said Rich Paul has completely lost the plot, claimed the power went to his head, from selling t-shirts out of a car to running one of the biggest agencies on the planet, now acting untouchable.
Know by now Rich is his own man, and what Rich says is not a direct reflection of me and how I feel. And I hope people know that. I hope people know that if they're not sensible to know that, then I don't know what to tell them.
Whitlock painted Rich Paul as a guy drunk on influence, big lifestyle, big connections, zero filter, saying whatever he wants and expecting zero blowback. And once that door opened, this story stopped being just basketball. Jason Whitlock comparing this whole situation to power was absolutely savage. Two best friends build an empire together. Then power starts shifting, egos grow, and suddenly loyalty gets tested. So let's ask the real question. Is that where this is heading with LeBron James and Rich Paul? Are we watching the early cracks in one of the most influential partnerships in sports history? Because let's be clear, this isn't really about Austin Reaves. It's about control. It's about leverage. It's about who actually runs things in Los Angeles. Rich Paul didn't just stumble into power, he built an empire through LeBron. Clutch Sports now represents over 200 NBA contracts worth more than $1 billion. That doesn't happen by accident. And let's keep it honest, that rise didn't come from a traditional resume or decades inside front offices. It happened because LeBron vouched for him, recruited for him, and gave him instant credibility. The conflict of interest has always been there. The league has looked into LeBron's ties to Clutch multiple times and officially found nothing. But inside basketball circles, everyone knows the truth. LeBron is the foundation of that entire machine. So when Rich Paul starts floating trade ideas on podcasts that conveniently align with LeBron's title window, it puts everyone in an impossible spot. Either LeBron approved it and is now denying it, or Rich Paul went rogue and just made his best friend look reckless on a national stage. Neither option looks good, and that's why the Reaves situation matters. It's not just one trade idea, it's a snapshot of what happens when player empowerment goes too far, when agents become celebrities and influence starts outweighing accountability. If this partnership cracks, the fallout won't stay quiet. When podcasts turn into negotiating tools, when the line between representation and manipulation gets this blurry, you reach a point where nobody knows who's really steering the wheel anymore. LeBron James built Rich Paul up from the ground floor. He opened doors that would have stayed locked forever, and now that creation might be spinning a little too freely. The Frankenstein comparison isn't crazy. When you elevate someone past their experience, past their resume, past their natural limits, they eventually start believing the hype themselves. Look at the situation. Rich Paul is dating Adele. He's sitting courtside at Lakers games like royalty. He's running a 9-figure empire and moving pieces across the league. This is a guy who once sold jerseys out of a car. Now a single podcast appearance can shake front offices. That kind of rise changes people. It has to. And the real question becomes simple. Can LeBron still control what he helped create? That's where Stephen A. Smith makes his strongest point. Agents doing podcasts is a terrible idea. There's a reason most insiders hate it. Agents are supposed to move quietly. They negotiate behind closed doors. They protect clients without becoming the headline. The moment an agent becomes the story, not the facilitator, the balance is gone. Lines get crossed whether LeBron signs off on it or not. There's no denying it. The LeBron-Rich Paul relationship reshaped modern NBA power dynamics. Player control, agent influence, front office behavior, all of it changed. But here's the truth nobody likes to admit. Every empire gets tested. Every partnership hits friction. And maybe, just maybe, this is that moment. Maybe LeBron is telling the truth. Or maybe this is what happens when power grows faster than control. Either way, this isn't over. Maybe Rich Paul really did go rogue. Maybe this was a genuine miscommunication that snowballed into something way bigger than intended. Or maybe, just maybe, we're watching exactly what Stephen A. Smith warned about, a carefully choreographed dance where LeBron James keeps plausible deniability while his agent floats trial balloons in public, test the waters, gauge the reaction. If it lands, push forward. If it backfires, pull back and deny everything. Either way, Austin Reaves deserves better than being used as a chess piece in someone else's power play. He earned his role. He proved himself. He became exactly what every team wants: tough, skilled, clutch, and reliable. Sure, trading him for defensive help might make sense on a whiteboard, but basketball isn't played on whiteboards. So who's telling the truth here? Is LeBron really hands-off? Is Rich Paul freelancing without his best friend knowing? Or is this all theater designed to plant ideas without taking responsibility? The truth probably lives somewhere in the middle. But one thing is undeniable. Stephen A. Smith reminded everyone of a hard reality. You don't build an empire on loyalty, then pretend that loyalty doesn't shape every decision you make. Welcome to the NBA in 2025, where podcasts influence rosters, where agents become the headline, and where even the king can't fully escape the kingdom he built. The trade talk will fade, but the questions about LeBron, Rich Paul, and blurred power lines aren't going anywhere. And that is the real story. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more real NBA conversations. Stay locked in. More coming soon.